He stuck that trout, and we were working some grass edges, and we kind of got up into this corner, and we didn't see nothing at first, and I happened to flip a bait in there, and I mean, I'm talking when it hit the water, I felt a thump. I'm like, man, that was like almost too quick. So I kind of like did a half crank to see if it would come tight, and it was still slack. So I'm like, I think something ate it and it's swimming at me now. So
you're now tuning into the Florida Fishing Podcast and Show with co-hosts Tim Sommer and Ty Nelson.
This thing started? Yeah, no, we're recording. Cool. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Florida Fishing Podcast. I'm your co-host, Ty Nelson. I'm here today with my co-host,
Tim Sommer.
And today we have two special guests. We have Team Florida Fishing Products in the house. I'm excited to finally say that. You're the first Team Florida Fishing Products, which is awesome. We have Eric Henson and Derek Engle here with us, who I know both these guys well because I've fished against them multiple times. They beat me sometimes. I beat them. It's gone back and forth. It's been a while since I fished a tournament, and I'm like kind of chomping at the bits to get back out there. So hopefully this will like inspire me to want to make that happen. But
What? Because I would be on your team.
Yeah.
What would
You
your team name be?
I don't know, man. Would we be Team Florida Fishing Products number 2? That's rough.
Sounds
That's
backwards.
rough, man. Yeah, it'll be Team Florida Fishing Products. Will be Team Florida Fishing Products number 1.
We could be the Team Florida Fishing Show and Podcast.
There you go. We'll figure it out.
Oh, man.
We're actually fishing a tournament here in June called the BIA Bricks and Sticks. It used to be in May, and they keep on moving it back like 2 weeks every year.
what's the route?
What's up?
What is it?
Format is 2 redfish, 2 snook, 2 ladyfish inches. And so the ladyfish kind of throw you off, man.
That's
But
pretty cool.
big
Wow.
tournament, 70 boats, which they just started. There used to be 70 boats every year, and always like it would sell out in like April. Which reminds me that I probably should get on that because it's probably already sold out. But they opened up the field last year. I think they had like 100 boats. And
That being a big tournament.
we've done well every year. Haven't won it. Haven't gotten the money yet.
Yeah.
It's just like every year it's like one big fish away, or one fish.
The ladyfish throws it off, though. That throws a whole nother,
Man,
whole
because
nother ball
like
game.
you can have 16, 18 inches all day, but that's not going to do anything.
No.
You need like 22s,
you need a
24s.
Yeah.
If you can get them, you're in the money because you got to bring in like 180 inches.
Yeah.
You need like 30s,
bait or
35s, and then
artificial?
like 24.
Yeah.
It's open, so you can use whatever you want. But I love that tournament.
It's a fun tournament.
It's awesome. I go down usually like a week ahead of time, get the boat prepped, which the last few years I've been using my mom's boat, so I get down there and I feel like for like the first 2 or 3 days I'm just fixing the boat
ready.
and then I finally get to pre-fish, catch bait, and then Tim's here, and then it's like tournament day. And we get so close, but we just are just one spot short normally.
Yeah.
So this year I'm going up like 2 weeks before. We're doing a video with Bonefish Tarpon Treasure right now. We're shooting a permit video with them, and then I'm going to pre-fish a little bit, so I'll have a good idea where bait's at, where the fish are. Then another week after that, I'll come back, pre-fish for the tournament, and that Saturday we'll make it happen.
It's like 2-person teams, or
No, it's open to. I think you can do like 4. Yeah. I always like some of these tournaments. I always just want to do solo.
I know.
I get tired of people. I'm just going to do it on my own.
It's fun fishing 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
3 or 4 people is pain.
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's why when it's me and Tim, it's nice. This year, we're going to bring our sales guy, Kale, and bring him in and see how he does. But I like it because Tim just goes with the flow. He shows up and he's like, you got the game plan. I'm rolling. I'm
just here to fish.
And that's the best. That's the best.
You know, sounds like me last Saturday. He had his game plan. I'm like, I'm just here to fish.
It worked out.
It did work out.
So let's segue into that. We're not here to talk about our tournament fishing because we're not really that good together. We're okay though. Like last year, we got really close to winning.
We always get really
If you
close.
got time in your team, you're good.
We always get close.
I will say to finish off the story, the last minute, it's 3:30 p.m. We're in a blind pass actually, and we had a bait sitting up underneath the dock. Got slammed by a 40-inch snook. I was told that they're only mid-slot fish, and so I was looking for like basically a 20, or not a mid-slot, like just under slot, like a 20, mid-20 fish, 25, 26 incher. So I was kind of like being lazy. I hooked them, and rather than run to the front of the boat, which I normally do to pull them out, I fought him from the back, and he just turned and got me up the pile and broke me off.
Game over.
And it was a stud. If it wasn't a 40-inch snook, it was probably a 40-inch red because those fish are just massive.
Yeah.
And it's usually one of the 2 underneath there. Yeah. And that was like last minute. We needed one big fish. If it wasn't the 40-inch snook, it would have put us in like first or second. And we ended up running to the weigh. We got there with 3 minutes spare weighed in. I think we got like 7th or 8th.
7th or 8th.
So we got top 10.
Still solid.
Over 7. I think this year was. I think it was 100 votes. But anyways, that was an epic tournament. But we're not here for our tournament. We're not here.
We're pumped about it, though. You can tell we've been talking about it for a few weeks here.
Like I said, I'm chomping at the bits. It's the last tournament I fished. Was that tournament last year? So it's been a while. But you guys last weekend, you guys made it happen. So like, tell us what were you fishing, where were you fishing, and how'd it go?
We went out Thursday.
Yep.
We did 2 days of pre-fishing. We actually stayed separate. He scouted in the kayak.
Okay.
And I ran the boat just to cover more area. He checked some of his stuff. We knew we wanted to focus on the river to get away from the lagoon water. Not only does my boat fish better than the river.
Cool. So it was East Coast Titus Boat Tournament.
East Coast or river breeze.
River breeze. Okay.
So we wanted to move into the river to break ourselves away from a lot of the field a little bit. And so I fished a lot of my river stuff. He fished some of his river stuff. I really, honestly, I didn't find nothing. He found some fish.
In the kayak.
In the kayak, yeah. In the kayak. So we didn't have a game plan up to the morning of. We were actually on plane, going south, asking, hey, do I make a U-turn or do we keep going?
We thought about staying because we heard there were good fish in the lagoon, and we know so many spots in the lagoon.
We heard this, but we do know there are some fish.
We knew that we could pound out, 10 different spots in the lagoon.
Yeah, we thought we had so much stuff in the lagoon. We're like, we can grind it out all day and probably catch a couple of fish. Right. If we go to the river, we're only really fishing one area because I didn't find nothing else in the river.
Right.
But he felt that we could really get not only maybe a couple of good fish, but at least get 8 or 9 pounds on the board to start us off.
I found probably 75 to 100 fish on Thursday, and
in one group.
No, they were spread out.
One big general area.
But they were spread out. But I only seen probably about 10 good fish, like tournament fish.
But slot fish put you on the board.
Right. Yeah, so I knew we could get at least our 2 fish and a possible of getting 2
better
good
quality
fish.
fish.
Better quality fish.
So you made that run.
We made that run. Yeah.
That's a long run.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
It was 30-something miles to get there. I mean, it was a decent run, but
what
makes it kind of a run is during tournament time and stuff in the lagoon, you can't run over 30. So you can't
rule through IFA.
Yeah, that's
now?
everything. That's because the lagoon has a 30-mile-an-hour limit. You can't break waterway limits in a tournament.
Gotcha.
Waterway.
So how does it work like in the ICW? Isn't it mostly 25 mile an hour or no?
Yeah, most of the ICW is 25. You're supposed to run 25 all through that. Once you get outside certain areas, it'll say resume. You can run, but all the lagoon is 30.
Gotcha.
So that first kind of southbound pass, everyone's just cruising at 30. You can't just do 50 miles an hour and get down there in 20 minutes.
It evens the playing field, though.
It evens the playing field.
It does.
There's a few guys that have fast boats that usually, they're passing the first few minutes, and they were all just in a line with us,
It was blowing pretty good that day as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Which really kind of, I wanted it to because it benefited us a little bit. Keeps them, those little technical skiffs from having such an easy time, and it keeps them from pulling and sight fishing as easy.
Especially in that area.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it made it harder for those little boats to get to the river.
Right.
So it kind of let less boats in the river where we wanted to fish.
For the people that don't know, the Mosquito Lagoon is like a 2-foot average depth.
Right.
So for a technical pulling skiff, that's the place you want to be.
Yeah.
And with you're running your 24 shoalwater, right?
23 shoalwater.
So that's a big boat. It's they're at a huge advantage.
We're not push poling. We're not coming up on fish in 8 inches of water. So we were fishing a good 3 foot of water with our fish.
Gotcha. Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I'd say 75% of the boats were in skinny water boats.
Oh yeah, 80% of the field.
What was it blowing? Like 20? I mean,
it was blowing a good 20.
Yeah, it was blowing a good 20. Right out of the south, just like right down the pipe.
Yeah, right down the pipe. No east or west.
That's the
Right
worst.
down the pipe.
That's the worst. But it evens the playing field.
It
Great.
evens the playing field.
That's the one thing I always knew. When it's really windy, it's windy for everybody.
It's windy for everyone.
Miserable.
We were talking about the other day. It's like in kayak tournaments. Honestly, let it blow because some people like to give up. Some people get frustrated. Some people won't have their game plan or can't make it to their game plan.
Right.
And I'll grind all day, so I think it benefits me in the long run for it to sit there and blow.
Without a doubt. When I stopped fishing the IFA kayak tour, It was that last tournament right after we pre-fished for the IFA.
It was blowing.
I was worn out, and it was blowing like no other, man.
I think it was blowing out of the south, wasn't it?
I think it was blowing from the east because I couldn't cross the lagoon.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd ever faced a wind. Like, I'm exhausted. Me and Eric pulled for 2 days. I didn't sleep well. I think we had just gone down to like the Everglades because this is right after Irma, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. So we went down to the Everglades and did the Everglades restoration.
Tore down a house.
Yeah, we did like a whole project down there.
I remember you saying
And then
that.
we came back up, and then I chilled Saturday, and then I fished Sunday. I was exhausted. I couldn't make it across the lagoon. I got pushed back. Like, I never met a wind I couldn't make it through. That was the first time that I was just beat down. And I get pushed back to the shoreline over behind the clinkers, and I start working my way. I was working my way north. I saw some creeks and stuff on my phone. At this point, I'm like, I was not planning on fishing the west side at all. That was not the game plan.
Yeah.
Like, this is not what I've pre-fished for or planned for. So like, I'm winging it. The water's super high, and I end up pushing down the shoreline. I get into this creek, just get out of the wind for a little bit, and I like hooked a tarpon, caught a snook, and I worked my way back out. I'm like, I got to get out of here. And I actually I was going to an area that we had found fish when we pre-fished. The one area in the river where we found like decent clean water, good grass, and some fish. And on the way back to the boat ramp, I got blown up by a manatee, which reminded me of your story of getting blown up this past weekend, which I have to tell that.
Yeah.
After that, I was defeated. I was done. I launched at the other spot. I caught another like 28-inch snook, and it was 10:30 a.m., and I decided, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm going to go hang out with Justin Ritchie. And so me and Justin went to Bass Pro Shops, and we went and fed the fish at the Bass Pro Shops. And some dude, the GM, Mo, who allowed us to go feed the bass there.
Right.
So Justin actually was able to like flip some baits and mess around with their fish. So that was much more fun to me than getting beat up in the kayak. I think you either won it or you... No, my buddy Patrick, I think, won it.
Yeah, Patrick won it.
I can't believe that. Yeah, that was something else, man.
Yep.
And then you got second or third.
Second or third, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that Patrick Riggard won it.
I remember that. I remember that story.
That was probably why I was just done. Once Pat had won, I'm like, I'm out. You guys can have it. I'm done.
That was a tough day. That was tough.
Yeah, that was nuts.
We've had a few tough days lately. Good days, but tough days.
Right.
So back to IFA Redfish Tour, Saturday, main day. So you guys are fishing 3 feet of water. What are you throwing? Like from paddle tails, primarily?
Not
sight fishing,
artificial
water
shrimp.
Yeah. Artificial shrimp,
You're
paddle
just
tails.
basing this off like you had seen fish in the kayak and
Yeah, I had seen fish in the kayak, and what these fish were doing about 9, 10 o'clock, they started tailing. They started getting real happy. They started floating. They started crawling. They started tailing. And I kind of figured that the next day about that time, or usually about an hour later, it kind of goes, each day is usually about an hour later when they start to turn on. I kind of figured that they would kind of start to turn on a little bit. So when we first got there, we pounded it out for probably an hour and a half.
nothing.
And nothing. Didn't even see a fish. Didn't even see a fish.
Couple dinker trout. I mean, just
didn't see a fish. Yeah, we
nothing.
did catch a few dinker trout. Oh, I did stick a 26-inch trout.
Yeah, we did.
Out of the blue.
That was right before though we found it.
Oh, that was true. That's true. That's right before we found
so
the
we
fish.
went an hour and a half of just dinkers, not seeing a red, nothing.
That's the moral.
So,
Running 30 miles
Yeah.
and like hour and a half last.
And he kept saying, he's like, just hold out, just
got to give it some time. We
the
ran all
sun's
the way
gonna
up.
get higher and these fish are gonna pop up,
All of a sudden, I stick that fish, and it felt like a red. I was like,
because it had some weight behind it.
It has some weight behind it. I was like, oh, all right, they're starting to turn on.
Yep.
And I seen that thing go sideways, and I saw the big old trout. I was like,
Big
oh,
26-inch trout.
26-inch trout.
worst.
20 minutes. This happens every time. I got to get a new camera for the podcast. I got 20 minutes on the camera. The podcast keeps rolling, so sometimes I can put it out. We'll probably just let this roll. Let people see the behind the scenes of the podcast. It's crude, man. It's crude.
He stuck that trout, and we were working some grass edges, and we kind of got up into this corner, and we didn't see nothing at first, and I happened to flip a bait in there, and I mean, I'm talking when it hit the water, I felt a thump. I'm like, man, that was like almost too quick. So I kind of like did a half crank to see if it would come tight, and it was still slack. So I'm like, I think something ate it and it's swimming at me now. So I took another crank, and it came tight and felt weight. So I stuck it right off the bat. We knew it was a red. And it was a decent fish. It ended up being like a 5 1/4 pounder.
Yep.
And literally
Got our first fish in the well.
What happened next?
So literally, I'm putting the net away, and he's putting his soft plastic on, and he pitches it back out there. And as soon as he hit the water again,
Same spot.
oh, same exact spot.
I'm talking. Neither cast did it hit the bottom. And I'm like, I felt the thump. I'm like, there's no way this just happened twice in a row. And I'm like, dunk, 4¼ pounder. And I'm like, we have 9.5 pounds. And over there, I'm like, on average, if you look, I always look back like 5, 6, 7 years.
Fish are a little skinnier over there.
Weight wise, I'm like, that should at least put us.
You're looking real good.
I'm like 9.5 should at least put us in the money.
Yeah.
Like we're at least gonna get a paycheck. So we kept grinding out for another probably a good 30 or 40 minutes of whacking a fish every handful of casts.
I stuck one.
He stuck one before we had any big fish in the well that we thought.
And when I had pre-fished, I had told them that they were the good school that I found. They were swimming with black drum. So I cast out. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a good one. This is a free.
Well, like this is an over, or this is the one we want.
This is either the one, either or. And I run it, and all of a sudden I see the black drum tail come up. I was like, oh no, the black drum.
No. And we the 2 days prior, we were talking to each other on the phone like, I've thrown out 150 black drum today and can't get one to eat. And he's like, I've thrown out 100 of them, can't get one to eat. We sick one on drum today. When we don't want one,
Of course,
So we proceeded to work. I think we caught 8 or 9 redfish before we left there.
Yeah.
All out of this, they were just sitting tight in one area. And we've always talked about in the past, like one of these tournaments, we want to get a double. Never mind just a double on some slot fish, but a double on like some better fish.
Right.
And this tournament, we finally, I hooked into the first one. We had caught a couple lovers, so there was some good fish mixed in.
Yeah, he had just let go an over right before we stuck our 2.
And I set the hook, and I'm like, it's either a good fish or another over, and I'm like halfway to the boat.
He's like, it's over. And I was like, sorry, I just started casting.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's over, don't worry about it.
I like, it was over, don't worry. So I started casting, because if I thought it was over, I wasn't going to net it. I pitch out, boom, I thump, and I'm like, oh, we got 2 over slot fish.
Yeah, he's like, mine's over too.
Mine's over too.
I net mine, I don't even look at it. I just flop in the boat and let it flop around the bottom of the boat.
You did at least?
I netted it myself, And then I flopped it right, I didn't Louisiana flop it.
Right.
No.
And so I flop it in the boat, the net, and his is only like 10 feet from the boat now, so I net his real quick, and I go back to my fish, and I'm like, Eric, man, fish don't look that long, I think it'll be close. I put him up there, it was like 26.5. I'm like,
nice.
Dang, and then he throws his fish up there, and I'm talking, it's 27 on the button, and we're like, there it is. Both of them were like 6.25 for like 12.5 pounds. I'm like,
nice.
I'm like, that's, honestly looking at results, I'm like, that could be anywhere from 1st to 5th. Realistically over here, West Coast, you better have high 13s, low 14s to even think about having a shot at first.
Right.
Over there's a lot of first place events that were 12 pound range.
Where you're saying artificial tournaments, people don't weigh in 17 pounds?
No, that's when you have 400 white bait in your well and you're shoving them down his throat. Yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy when you look at the IFA results. Like that's your natural redfish results.
Compared to like the
14.5 pounds, you're winning it.
Right.
Flats Masters 14.5 pounds, you're lucky to be
You'd
top
be like
5.
7th.
Yeah. There's been times where you're 14 pounds.
Yeah, if you don't have 16 pounds, you can forget it.
And so we checked the fish the entire day, making sure they were okay. The entire day. Every time we stopped, even when we were driving, we would just stop just to look at them, just to make sure they're okay. They were good the entire day.
Because one was kind of like halfway tongue hooked, and they do that. They have issues sometimes when they get tongue hooked. I don't know what it is, but a lot of tournament guys have had them die from being tongue hooked. But he was kind of like, it was almost like under the tongue. But he was bleeding a little bit.
It was a little bit.
But, so when I worked with him for the first couple minutes he was in the live well, no issues. We checked him every 20 minutes or so. And 15
minutes before we were getting ready to head in, looked at him one more time. Both of them looked great.
We only had a 15-minute drive to
the weigh-in.
We get to the weigh-in, I'm like, they've been fine all day, I ain't worried about nothing, just check them. He's like, man, one's upside down. I'm like,
no.
Quit BSing me. Like, they've been fine all day, don't mess with me.
He thought I was messing with him.
I'm like, don't mess with me. He's like, I swear, this thing's upside down. I'm like, he's like on the verge of dead or dead.
His pecs were just barely moving, but he was upside down. His pecs were just
so he ran up to grab a bag, and like, usually, like, if I have a redfish that's starting to struggle, I'll hold his mouth open, put his face right against where my live wells pump out, and it really just pumps it. I've really brought some like half-dead fish back to like where they live for the next 3 hours doing that. Wow. So I held him up there while Eric grabbed some bags and stuff, but yeah, we weighed him in. I sprinted all the way up to because the weigh-in was like 300 yards up the thing, so I sprinted with him up there. Dropped him in. I thought I seen the gill move once. He thought I seen the tail move once, but the guy called him dead. I wasn't gonna argue with him. He's the judge. I'll let him judge it. Unless I really like, he's sitting there moving up and down. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna argue with him. So we lost half a pound I don't know how, but
Thankfully,
luckily
it didn't cost us.
it didn't cost us nothing.
Because a half pound can be
for a
huge.
dead fish.
Yeah, 2 pounds for 2
Right.
dead fish.
Right.
Wow.
So
it goes from a half pound to 2 pounds.
yeah, so yeah, if you have 2, you can it's really gonna hurt you.
So how did that affect you with the half pound?
It literally didn't. It didn't affect us at all. The team actually, we were the second team I think to weigh in, and obviously I had some high hopes of possibly having first place bag here. And the very first team weigh in had 13-something pounds right off the bat. So we were in second place off the bat. And one other team ended up having 13-something pounds and actually took the lead. They had high 13s.
His dad ended up having a little bit of boat trouble, so he
Yeah.
had me stay at the weigh-in to listen to every single boat that came in to find
Just
out,
to try to figure out where
just to
we
figure
were
out
sitting.
where we were sitting. So every person that walked in with 2 bags and the bags they looked so
They
much
looked
bigger.
so much
And
bigger
it's like
than
my
the
heart's like
bags, dude.
pounding out of my chest. I'm like every single one. Oh, it was killing me watching every person go up there and weigh.
So somehow, we've been striving really hard to get a top 3 in the boat side. And anyone that fishes knows it.
It's hard.
It ain't easy, man. It's a tough field. There's a lot. There's a little below average, but there's still 72 teams at that event. And I was just glad that that half pound, because I would have died if that half pound cost us from 3rd to 4th, and to bump us out of that top 3 finish. It's still would have been a good finish, but I would have been. I've been pretty bummed out,
It bumps you out of the plaque, right?
Still top 3.
Yeah, top 3, you still get your plaque. So
It's a big deal.
it's a big deal, man.
You see it there.
Yeah,
I like my
whole line of it, man.
Tim, I really wanted to put my plaques at ICAST last year in our booth.
It's credibility. Why not, man? Come on. Let's
Yeah,
talk about it.
we got our booth here. We spent like hours making this booth. No. Months.
I like
Months
mine.
making this booth. Finish it, and then
My
he's
buddy
like,
built
we need to put my plaques on it.
Oh, we see like spruce it up a little bit. Add
We'll put Tom Nelson right above the top of them.
Time Nelson fish slayer.
Oh man,
I like my plaques, man.
So then we got this office, and now I like his plaques because they're in his office.
Yeah, they're good in his office. Yeah.
My good one was sitting on the futon the other day. He's like, "Damn." I got our sales guy Kale who goes in there because it's like the only quiet office.
Yeah.
Because Tim's usually in his, so he closes the door. And Kale's in there. He looks in there. He's like, "Damn, those yours?" I'm like, "Nah, man, right here." He's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "Okay, I see." He's like, "That's a lot of awards."
Got more first place in there than I do, dang it. I got too many second places, man. Them second places are killing me.
I know, man. Dude, I had that one though where I got bumped from first down to second because that redfish picture was all crazy.
Messed up. Who bumped you? That was Thad, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't that.
No?
I think it was another guy.
Was it Justin?
It pissed me off because his red was only 40 inches,
Yeah,
and mine
and
was
yours was
like
like
bigger
48.
than the board.
Yeah.
But I screwed up the photos. I was worried about the fish. My camera wasn't focusing, and I got like salt water on it, so I had like this like wonky picture like across the board that goes the only clear one. And they're like, "Well, you put 40 plus inches." I don't know why I put 40 plus inches question mark. I'm like,
45
they'll
plus.
figure it out. It's
Right,
bigger than the board.
right.
Like they'll get it, but like a lot of the pictures were so blurry, like you couldn't even see the numbers on the board. But the fish was
man.
bigger.
So
than
big. It's so hard to measure those big fish on those
We
boards.
learned it this year in Louisiana when we were catching bulls.
It's
I'm
so
going to
hard.
make a custom board just for
Right.
Louisiana. That would be no good for nowhere else.
Yep.
But man, I struggle taking pictures, especially because you're out there in like 30 foot of water.
Right.
So there's no getting out.
Right.
There's no, it was one of the toughest things I've done taking pictures wise. I was like calling other kayaks over, like, hold my board.
Right. Can you
help me out
take
here.
a picture?
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming in. Definitely,
problem.
you guys did awesome this weekend. I guess real quick, let's talk about the kayak side. Both you guys fished the kayak side, right?
Yeah.
I know it didn't go as well for you. It did go well for you.
He still did good.
That's our her top
He's
five
still top
finish.
4 right there,
That's awesome. So, what happened with you on the kayak side?
Basically, I started out first thing in the morning, 10 minutes into my paddle, running into a landmine of about 6 manatees, but 2 of them were underneath me. And they picked me up, and when they set me back down, both of them took off with their huge paddles and just completely swamped me. My phone was gone, my net gone, everything. I mean, it was an absolute disaster. And I saw the one other guy that I launched with, I seen him way out in the flat. So basically I was like, I can call it quits here or go at least and I had lost my wallet the day before, so now I have no phone and no wallet. So I was like, at least I can talk to this guy and have him, call somebody and call, the IFA and tell him what happened and stuff like that.
Did you at least have keys to your
I
truck?
had my keys to my truck. Yep. And when I got out there, guy's name's Bobby Bazuki. Yeah, he was real cool. He said, why don't I call him and see if they will allow me to let you borrow a camera. We called up. They said yes, you're gonna do a relaunch. But so I went relaunched, and basically I fished for only a couple of hours because I had his camera. I didn't want to be too far from him. And I had no phone to.
He was real restricted.
I was real restricted.
Bobby was using his phone and you were using his camera, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so basically fished for a few hours. I got lucky, stuck a couple of decent fish. Stuck a ton of reds, but I couldn't get one over 23 and a half. I stuck a 22 and a half inch trout and got me 4th place, but can't win them all.
Well, at least you ended up in the money.
Yeah, ended up in the
Took
money.
a top 5 finish. Made it out of a bad situation.
And
For me, I quit. I gave up. I'm never going back kayaking. Although there is a Ruskin event coming up. And I'm like, I've never won a Ruskin tournament.
I'm wondering if Ruskin's going to happen though, because redfish is rumored to not open. And if it don't open again, I don't know if they're going to do
They won't come down at all.
That's what I'm saying. If they're not doing the boat side, I don't see them traveling down here just for the kayak side.
Well, they might change it up, maybe do just for the redfish.
Maybe.
Have they shut down other tournaments because of fish kills in the past?
Someone was talking about they may get a permit. They might get a permit just for the tournament.
I think if it doesn't open, I think they're going to try to work something out with FWC to show, hey, we have 80 or 90% release rates. None of these guys are trying to kill fish. It's we've been doing this tournament for 20 plus years, type of thing. We'll see.
So you got 4th place.
Yep.
You, on the other hand, didn't lose your wallet, didn't get attacked by a manatee.
No manatee issues. I'll just do a quick recap. Me and my buddy Darren fished next to each other. We had found a bunch of good trout pre-fishing. I just couldn't find redfish. So we hit an area I had found trout. We actually didn't even tie top waters on in the morning. We thought it was going to be a little too rough. It was blowing like 25 out of the south on kayak day. And so we got out there, and it wasn't quite as rough first thing in the morning as we thought. So I literally didn't even make a cast and cut one off and put a top water on. My buddy's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, these fish are going to eat top water right now.
Adjusting. That's what I'm doing.
So I throw out there, like first 2 twitches, miss a big blow up. It was so big, I think it was a redfish.
Mm-hmm.
And before I could make that cast in, got a 19 and a half trout. Second cast, got a 22 3/4. Thought that was good enough that especially on a wind-blown day, I need to just go look for redfish. So I started pounding some bushes in that same area while he was getting his trout. Popped a couple more 22-inch trout, but couldn't get a redfish. So we spent a couple hours doing that, and he decided, hey, let's get off the water. I got this little pocket. It's out of the wind. There's not really big fish there, but I think we can get like a 22 to 24 red pretty easy. And I'm like, well, on a day like that, give me mid-40s. I can work with that. So we went in there, popped like 10 22s. Just couldn't get one over that. And out of nowhere, boom, I hook into a fish, and he's like, you got another fat 22, because these fish are real heavy. I'm like, man, this fish is twice of anything we've caught yet. I don't know what it is. Ended up being a 31 and a half red.
Nice.
And I really thought it was going to be enough for first. It was like 54 and a quarter, which, was well over what it usually takes to win.
Right.
And one of the guys,
Brian
Neely got a 30-inch trout. And
32-inch trout.
Almost, 30 and a quarter inch trout. And
Take any redfish.
Almost a 33-inch redfish to go with it for like 63 inches.
Yeah.
And it was a total blowout.
When you're like, man, I think I got this.
Right. At least big redfish.
Darren was even like, I think you got this. I'm like, well, crap does happen. And anybody, there's enough big trout here. If someone does get one of them big trout, it puts them in a whole nother ball game.
Right.
And, and somebody did. And not only did he get big trout, but he got big red in first place and got the whole sweep. So,
that's exactly right. If someone gets a big trout, I can change
so.
the game real quick.
That reminds me of, I think, the first tournament when I met you. I think it was up in North Indian River, and it was the Titusville event. The first one I fished, probably like 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And 2015, you won.
I think maybe it was 2014 then. I think I won
2015. You definitely won.
So 2014, then I got a 29.25-inch trout, which I thought was massive. I remember when I weighed in.
That is massive.
That is, man, look at that trout. I'm like, yeah, you see that trout? They're like, no, not yours. This one.
Right.
I'm like, what? How big? And they're like 32 and a half.
Oh, my God.
But it was this tournament where this guy who doesn't even fish tournaments often, he's like a videographer or whatever. On the way back in, everyone apparently got over a 25-inch trout that day.
Yeah,
so
it's just one of those days.
Insane days.
Stupid. And I ended up wild trout fishing. I caught like 20 fish over 20 inches, 10 over 25. It was just the craziest
insane.
trout they've ever had.
Just a fun day.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top water, I got like a 27-inch redfish. And so the 29.25, the 27, I'm putting in like
you're solid.
57 inches. I'm
57,
right in this
58
tournament.
inches,
No problem. So I weigh in, and this guy comes in and never fished a tournament before. Fishing out of a PA, man, a freaking PA-12, Hobie PA, which is an aircraft carrier. It's about the size of this table
it's a
and
boat.
as wide.
Uh-huh.
And he flipped that PA 2 different times, which tells me the man obviously doesn't know how to kayak fish.
No.
He flipped an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't think you could flip one of them.
I didn't think you could either.
And he ends up getting a 37-inch red on the way back into the weigh-in, which I've never had that happen where I've been on the way home and caught like a 40-inch fish.
Got it done,
or
yeah.
near 40. So he got
So
a
pretty much like
37.
my story, yeah. Just
Blew me out of the water. I'm like,
water.
I thought I was so stoked. I worked so hard. I got 57 inches and
Blew
you out of the water.
Second
54 and a
place,
quarter,
man.
I'm like, crap happens, but I'm like, I got this,
Yeah, he
As soon
came
as I
in,
walk
he slapped me on the shoulder
and-
like
and-
this.
and-
He's all
and
pumped.
one of the guys is like,
Nah, you don't got
no. He's like 63. I'm like, what? I'm like, come on, man.
Hey, man. Second place and fourth place, that's not
Not
bad.
complaining. I had
Yeah,
both East Coast were second place, so I'm sitting in first place for Engle of the year, going out to Louisiana again. But I got him, my buddy Darren, who I fish with, and Justin all right behind me. So it won't be easy, but it'll be one of us four that get it. Ain't nobody else getting there.
Right. So you're second?
I'm in first right
you're
now.
first,
I took
okay.
second both events.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And now it'll, because now they incorporated. It used to be like when you fished it, Louisiana didn't matter for points. Now, if you
Now
want
you have to
Engle
go
of
out
the
and
year,
get championships.
it's just like the boat side. Your championship points go towards your Engle of the year points. So, like, say I think I'm like 6 above Eric right now.
Right.
If he beats me by 7 spots in Louisiana, he's now in front of me, or Darren's 5 behind me. If he beats me by 6 or more spots, he takes it.
Gotcha.
So, I got these guys right on. Actually, all 4 of us that are fishing for Engle of the year are all staying in the same house.
So before it was only if you were Angler of the Year for your region, those 4 anglers were.
The 2 events used to be, it used to be like if you fish, say, like Jacksonville and Titusville, if you had the most points from them 2 events, you were automatically East Coast Angler of the Year. Now they incorporate the Louisiana points into those points.
Okay.
And then whoever finishes the best out of the 5 regions gets that National Angler of the Year.
Gotcha. But what about the regional? They're still the regional?
Those are still, the divisional.
Okay.
Yeah,
Divisional,
but you
sorry.
still have to go to Louisiana.
But you have to
win
go to
those now.
Louisiana to get that as well.
They don't give them out like it used to be. You just fished the 2 events, and say you took.
to me because I never made it to Louisiana.
Yeah.
I won 2 of them.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're trying to do is bring more, because I won a couple of divisional events, and it had nothing to do with Louisiana. Now
They're just
brought
trying
it
to get more
Louisiana.
people to come out, which is, I mean,
Yeah,
I would love to go. This
Oh,
college
it's-
is a long drive. I was like,
it's something else, man. It's
it's a whole other world.
Every time anyone
It's-
goes, they're pre-fishing. Like, look at this redfish I caught.
Yeah.
It's
45
I'm
inches.
not kidding. When we went out there, just real quick, we got out there the first day, and there's 5 of us in kayaks. When we went in there, they held a lot of slot fish and some trout and stuff. And I think 5 of us in half a day caught 133 redfish. And
It's like 3 hours.
Probably 40
4 hours.
trout and probably a 4.5 hour paddle, 4 hour paddle. And then on day
Tournament
2
day.
of the tournament, we decided we caught our bulls at 1 pass the day before. But we decided to go to